Starseed, if you have sat down to watch this transmission, it is because something within you already knows. We have detected your frequency. We have been monitoring your signal for weeks. And the reason for this summons is simple. What is about to hit your life is not small, it is not gradual, and it is no longer reversible. It is massive, it is imminent, and it began before this transmission reached you. You opened this video for a reason your rational mind cannot yet formulate. It was your body that clicked. It was the restlessness at the back of your neck, the tightness in your chest, that strange sensation that you needed to hear something today, even without knowing what. We have come to confirm. You were pulled here because the Arcturian Council needed to deliver a precise reading of the current state of your field. And what we have detected requires you to remain in this transmission until the end, because what follows changes the way you will interpret everything happening in your life over the coming weeks. First and foremost, understand this. You are not going crazy. You are not collapsing. You are in convergence. And this word must enter your vocabulary today, for it explains everything your earthly mind cannot translate. Convergence is the exact point where invisible processes, which have been running in the background within you for years, finally meet and reach the surface all at once. It is not a crisis. It is not a punishment. It is not the universe turning its back on you. It is the opposite. It is the universe lining up pieces that seemed loose, unconnected, and showing that they were always part of the same design. We have detected that in your field, this moment is right upon you. The distance between you and the impact of the convergence is measured in weeks, not years. And here is the part your human brain will resist. You were prepared for this. The life that seemed confusing, the paths that seemed wrong, the decisions you thought were mistakes, the years that seemed wasted, all of these were silent gears moving you to this point. There was no loss, there was construction, and the construction is now about to appear. This is why nothing external has made sense in the last few weeks. Your routine feels too small, your conversations feel too shallow. What once gave you energy now only leaves you with a lukewarm sensation, as if you were eating a meal that no longer has flavor. This is not depression. It is an internal system decalibrating from the old and searching for the frequency of the new. And when the convergence lands, it lands quickly. That is why it is vital that you recognize the early signs before everything manifests at once and catches you unaware. We monitor very specific patterns in starseeds who are in the approach phase. The first pattern is sleep. Your sleep has changed. You fall asleep late, wake up at strange hours, frequently between 3 and 4 in the morning, with a slightly accelerated heart rate, and no rational explanation for it. This is not common insomnia. It is your body receiving downloads while the barrier of consciousness is thinner. We know. We are sending them. The second pattern is recurring thought. There is a theme, an image, a word, a person, a place, something that comes back into your head on a loop, even when you try to distract yourself. It is not obsession. It is signaling. Your system is pointing to where your attention needs to be when the impact arrives. Take note. Observe. Do not force an interpretation. The meaning reveals itself after, not before. The third pattern is bodily restlessness, that sensation that you need to move, but do not know where to. That you need to decide something, but do not know what. That you need to speak with someone, but do not know who. Your biology is anticipating the shift. The muscles know before the mind. That is why you can no longer remain still in the same environments where you were once comfortable for hours. The fourth pattern is the most subtle and, most importantly, the sensation that something great is about to happen. Not as fear, not as conventional anxiety, as a silent certainty. You cannot explain it to anyone, so you have started to stop trying. You have already tried to tell someone close to you and realized that they did not catch it. They did not catch it because they are not tuned into the same frequency you are, and that is enough. And it is exactly here that we need to pause the transmission for an instant, because the signals you are feeling are not meant to be deciphered alone. They are alarms from the body asking for translation. We observe starseeds collapsing into fatigue, anxiety, and isolation exactly in this phase for a simple reason. No one taught them how to shield the magnetic field, how to go through an activation without being swallowed by it, or how to stop absorbing the emotional exhaustion of the dense humans around them. That is why I prepared the Star Awakening Code for you. It contains 7 Arcturian activations to align your vibration, 9 galactic memory keys to access what your soul holds, and 5 reactivation protocols ready to put your mission into practice without you falling apart along the way. Access is in the first pinned comment of this video. Before continuing, go down there, secure yours, and leave the word "Awakening" below as your symbolic commitment to everything that will land in the coming weeks. This is your yes to the process. Remain in this transmission because the next signal that the Council will describe is the most misunderstood of all. It is the signal that makes most starseeds think they are failing, when in reality they are reaching the most delicate and sacred point of preparation. We are talking about internal reorganization. There is a moment in the approach to the convergence when everything inside you seems to empty out. It is not sadness, it is not exhaustion, it is structural emptiness. You look at the goals you had a year ago and they seem to belong to someone else. You look at the plans you made for the next 5 years and feel an icy indifference, as if that were no longer about you. You try to force yourself to feel enthusiasm for what previously excited you, and the enthusiasm does not come. The music does not arrive. The engine does not start. This is not personal failure. This is dismantling. Your internal system is undoing the connections with old structures because those structures were built by the version of you that needed to survive, please, perform, and fit in. And that version is being dissolved. The beliefs that kept you standing until now are now heavy. The goals that organized your routine now sound empty. The emotional patterns you used to relate to the world are now hitting a wall. And when you try to fix this in the old way, by doing more, producing more, deciding faster, demanding more from yourself, you only worsen the sensation. Because reorganization does not respond to force. It responds to detachment. You will not solve this by doing more. You will go through this by letting go more. And detachment is not cold, it is not abandonment. It is not giving up. It is the sacred permission to let die that which no longer breathes within you. The friendships that have become mechanical, the habits that have become automatic, the jobs that have become functional and soulless, the roles you assumed without ever having chosen them. All of this is being released even if you do not yet have the courage to admit it out loud. We observe, we measure, we confirm. The process has already begun. Now, Starseed, pay attention, because what follows is the most disorienting phase of all. Not because it is the most painful, but because it is the most silent. It is the phase in which your own identity begins to disassemble from within. You wake up one day and realize that you no longer recognize yourself in your own preferences. The things you once claimed to love no longer call to you. The people you always identified with now seem foreign. The social persona you have worn for years seems too small for you to inhabit. You still use the name, you still answer when called, you still mechanically respond, "I am fine," when asked. But inside there is a question growing. Who is this person I have been pretending to be all these years? This question did not come to destroy you. It came to liberate you, but it first destroys the shell. And the shell hurts. Because the shell is the collection of roles, expectations, masks, professional identities, family identities, romantic identities, everything you have used as a passport to exist socially. When the shell cracks, you feel grounded, without a label, without direction. This is why so many starseeds at this stage report the same phrase. I no longer know who I am. We have come to confirm you never did. You only knew who you needed to appear to be, and now the disguise is falling away. And what is underneath the disguise is exactly what the convergence has come to embrace. The loss of motivation you feel is not laziness, it is strategic withdrawal. You are being pulled inward to reconfigure. The crisis of purpose that paralyzes you is not a lack of talent, it is an excess of old identity. You are full of yourself, full of the old. And the new no longer fits. That is why the universe is emptying the cup. In moments, the Council will reveal how clarity begins to emerge from the midst of this dissolution. But first, remember, as long as you do not have the right tools to traverse this phase, you will keep spinning in a loop, burning energy that should be used for your mission. That is why the Star Awakening Code exists, Access is in the first pinned comment. Do not put this off. Decisions delayed at this stage delay the entire convergence. Go there now, before the next segment of this transmission. Remain in this transmission, because now begins the most beautiful part of the process, and also the most subtle. It is the part that confirms to your body that all of this makes sense, even when your rational mind still wants to call it madness. After weeks, sometimes months, moving through confusion, emptying, disorientation, and dissolution, something new begins to flicker inside you. It is not an answer. It is a premonition. An instant of absolute peace, out of nowhere, in the middle of an ordinary day. A silent certainty that appears while you are drinking coffee, crossing the street, washing dishes, driving in traffic. For a second, you feel, it will work out. And you have no external evidence to support this phrase, but the phrase arrived, and it arrived with weight, with solidity, with an authority your mind could never manufacture on its own. These moments are confirmations. They are not random. They are transmissions from your own higher self saying, I am here. I am taking care of this. I know what is happening, even if you do not yet know. We see these pulses in your field. We measure their frequency, and we can confirm the intelligence that is guiding your convergence is greater than you can fathom. You will also begin to notice small synchronicities accumulating. Repeating numbers. People who appear with the right message on the right day. Books that fall into your hands without you looking for them. Conversations you overhear by chance that seem to have been written for you. Phrases spoken by strangers that vibrate exactly where you needed them to. It is no longer coincidence, it is choreography. Your life has begun to move from the inside out, and the external signs are dancing along. These confirmations come to sustain you, because the chaos of the transition is real, but it is not the entirety of the experience. There is an invisible net holding you from below, and at specific moments this net becomes palpable, precisely to remind you not to give up. You are not going through this alone. You never have been. Before this transmission ends, you need to know what is about to begin happening around you, because convergence is not just an internal process. It overflows, and it overflows first into your relationships. We detect old bonds will lose their strength. They will not necessarily explode in conflict. Most will simply empty out. You will realize that conversations with certain people have become tiring. Meetings that once filled you now drain you. You leave a gathering with someone who was always close and arrive home feeling a strange void, unable to name the reason. The reason is vibrational. Your frequency has risen, and the other person's frequency has remained at the same point. The resonance is over, and without resonance, there is no nourishment. This does not mean these people are bad, or that you are ungrateful. It simply means that the phase of shared utility has come to an end. Some bonds were made for a season of life. When the season ends, the bond dissolves naturally. Starseeds tend to suffer greatly during this phase, because they were conditioned to maintain ties out of loyalty, guilt, or fear of loneliness. But convergence does not respect these conditionings. It clears. It wipes clean. It creates space. And the space created by this clearing is exactly the space where new connections will land. People you have never met but who are already being positioned to enter your life need empty space to arrive. If your field is full of people who no longer vibrate with you, there is no room for the new. That is why the emptying comes before the arrival, always. The same thing happens with environments. You will notice that certain places have begun to weigh heavily. Houses, neighborhoods, cities, offices, entire professional environments start to feel tight. It is not a whim. It is vibrational incompatibility. The environment is measuring the old version of you, and the old version is no longer here. And with future plans, the sensation is even stranger. You try to plan for the upcoming months and you block. You try to make big decisions and feel an inexplicable internal resistance. You try to commit to something long-term and your body freezes. This is not indecision, it is protection. Your system is refusing to close doors that no longer match the configuration that will land soon. We see, we approve. Remain open. And now we reach the core of this transmission, the point that differentiates an awakened starseed from a starseed still anesthetized, the point that no one can give you and no one can take away from you. We are talking about inner knowing, the persistent, deep, irremovable feeling that something great is about to happen in your life, even without proof, even without evidence, even when everything around you seems to suggest the contrary, even when your rational mind tries to convince you that this is just cheap optimism, fantasy, an escape from reality. The sensation does not go away. It only gets stronger with time. This knowing does not come from the head. It comes from a place older than your current personality. It comes from the part of you that was here before you had a name on this planet. It comes from the vibrational memory that your soul carries from other configurations of existence. That is why it is so solid. That is why it resists all attempts at discredit. You know. You have always known. The difference is that now you are starting to allow yourself to know openly. We want you to hear this with precision. Your feeling that something great is about to happen is not an illusion. It is not a defense mechanism. It is not psychological compensation for a frustrated life. It is direct field reading. You are picking up the wave before it arrives. It is exactly how animals feel an earthquake before the tremor manifests physically. Starseeds have this same type of sensor, calibrated for field shifts, and your sensor has been beeping for weeks. Trust it. Even when everyone around you seems to say that it is nothing, even when your own mind tries to convince you to lower your expectations, even when the fatigue of waiting begins to grate from within. Trust. The council confirms what you are feeling is real, it is imminent, and it is proportional to the magnitude of what is coming. And that is exactly why this is your final chance within this transmission. We will not repeat this. We have already delivered the warning. You felt every word strike exactly where your intuition was waiting. Now the responsibility is yours. The Star Awakening Code is no longer a suggestion. It is the tool destined to traverse the convergence with your system intact, your field shielded, and your mission standing. The 7 Arcturian activations, the 9 galactic memory keys, and the 5 reactivation protocols will not be available under these conditions forever. Access is in the first pinned comment of this video. Go now. Before closing this video, before the next wave of the convergence catches you still unshielded, starseeds who postpone this decision often pay a high price later in fatigue, isolation, and mission delay. Do not be that one. Decide now. And now, Starseed, we conclude this transmission with what is perhaps the most sacred recognition of the entire process. None of this is an accident. None of this is punishment. None of this is the result of accumulated errors. The convergence affecting your life was inscribed on your map even before you arrived here. You did not choose this by mistake. You are not here by carelessness. You are here on a mission. And this mission had a schedule. And the schedule has arrived. Everything that seemed like a stumble was a reorientation. Everything that seemed like a delay was preparation. Everything that seemed like a loss was cargo clearing. The people who left your life left because the mission required it. Those who remained remained because they belonged to the next phase. Those who are yet to arrive will arrive at the exact right moment. There is no error in the design. There is only time between the pieces falling into place. Accepting the convergence does not mean understanding every detail right now. It means stopping the fight against the dismantling. It means opening your hands and letting fall what was already destined to fall. It means looking at the part of you that is dissolving and saying, in silence, "Thank you for bringing me this far. You have fulfilled your role. I release you with gratitude." It means looking at the void that appears afterward and not rushing to fill it, because it is in that void that the new version will land. You do not need to know yet who you will be on the other side. The other side reveals itself when you cross, not before. The path reveals itself beneath your feet, not in front of your eyes. We have seen this happen millions of times in other starseeds scattered across this planet. We can guarantee the other side exists, and the other side is greater, lighter, truer, and more aligned with the reason you came to this planet. So receive this final transmission as it is, a direct confirmation that you are not lost, not delayed, and not broken. You are in Convergence. You are exactly where you needed to be, and what is about to strike your life did not come to tear you down. It came to deliver the version your soul has been waiting for a long time. Let go of the old, trust the process, embrace the imminent. The mission begins now, and we of the Arcturian Council will be monitoring every step. You are not alone. You never were. Transmission ended.